What is up, everybody? I have my good friend, Mr. Remi Warren, across from me digitally right now. We actually just wrapped up a podcast on how to find elk. And one of the ways that you find elk is with your optics, sometimes a spotting scope. Remi, it's time to talk about your favorite spotting scope. Now, we can't, new product alert. We've got a new spotting scope on the table right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. But we can't know where we're going or where we are without knowing where we've been, Remi. So let's talk about maybe your former favorite spotting scope a little bit and how you've used it.
Yeah, so affectionately, I like to call it the baby razor because it's the smallest of the razor spotting scopes. I would say that it's the scope that I take more than any other spotting scope. And the reason is because my style of hunting is often backcountry style hunting, carrying a lot of stuff. I don't like going without a spotting scope because I use it for verification, glassing in certain situations. But I also, in those situations, don't want that extra weight. And this is the perfect blend of weight and utility, right? It's got everything that I need. I think it punches above its weight in many ways, where it's like it's got exactly what I need, and it's really designed for backcountry hunting. But also, if you're a guy that's like, hey, I've got my optics, I'm in an area where I don't necessarily need to be glassing super long distances all day, or you're using your binoculars to do that, then you need to go verify something instead of walking 2 or 3 miles over there. This is the absolute best thing for that.
Yeah, I totally agree. The original baby razor, actually, as we call it, was an 11 to 33 by 50, and it definitely was capable of a lot more than maybe I think some people gave it credit for. And those who knew, like you, were like, "Oh no, this is this is my go-to." It all, and part of that reason, it always comes with you, right? So now the new baby razor is a 13 to 39 by 56. So essentially, by and large, it's everything that the previous was, just better. And
exactly, yeah. A little bit more magnification. I think that there's like a lot of really good features with it. It's just a little more ergonomic. I think it's a lot easier to use. It's kind of in the same line as the other razors. So you've got your, a really durable focus here. You've got on the body, you've got a really good for your magnification on the eyepiece. It's smooth, it's fast. Everything's like really well built in this. And then to jump up to 39, I mean, yeah, this is the one that's in my pack all the time. Like I use this for pretty much every hunt, especially when it comes to backcountry hunting. But this is the one that's like I carry it around because it's easy to carry and it's got so much like use as far as great magnification, great clarity. I think the clarity is the part that is kind of sends it home for me. It's like I can use this and it's extremely clear. It's like I don't really need much more because it's got a little bit of everything in here and it's lightweight.
Yep. And you brought up something, Remi, that I think is like important to point out. It's like this is kind of like the last spotter to kind of like make its way into that new razor form factor. Like the 11 to 33 was kind of, I guess a holdover from the previous razor series. And I know our product development team was like, hey, we're not going to update this until we can make it significantly better. And it took a lot of work, and it took some time to sort out the optical system, the industrial design, what's going to be, how are we going to maintain all of those attributes that we loved about its predecessor and make it significantly better and kind of, I guess, worthy of holding that spot. And I think they certainly did it with the 13 to 39 by 56 here. It's available in angled or straight. Like you said, the optics in it are absolutely stunning. It really has it all. I mean, comparatively, you're looking at, I think, approximately, give or take, about 3 ounces heavier. But man, for those 3 ounces, you are, you're gaining a ton of performance.
You gain a lot. Yeah. The other thing that I think about too is because it's got the Arca Swiss foot on it, you don't have to bolt a plate to it, and there's your 3 ounces right there. Like it's I think that's like a pretty solid. I really like that where you don't have to have a plate on the bottom if you have an Arca Swiss tripod head. So that's pretty nice as well.
Yeah, and that sure seems to be just becoming the standard more and more, is having that Arca footprint for your spotters and your tripod heads. Helical focus on this, which I personally really, really like. It keeps the spotter trim, sleek. A minor, it seems like a minor thing, but it's not a minor thing. We actually have and if you're watching on YouTube, you might be able to see it, kind of these raised ribs on the focus wheel. And one thing that I really liked about its predecessor was it kind of had a fine focus on it.
Yeah.
And I feel like with just a little bit of leverage that you're able to gain with these raised ribs, it almost becomes like you can just kind of give it just that little bit of focus on there to sharpen it up exactly where you want it.
Yeah, that's really nice. I mean, the thing about the fine focus on the other one, it came in really handy, but then it was also not as durable where you've got like this, it stuck out, it get caught on things. Like this is a lot better design in my opinion. And then I also really just like, I'm not the best at keeping things, like I beat things up pretty hard. I like how the eyepiece attaches here. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, I can be bad about that as well. So, altogether, I'm super pumped about this spotting scope. It's been a long time coming. I think it's there's a lot of people here that are really pumped about hitting this fall with this spotter, and I think it's going to be the go-to for a lot of folks out there. And I know, at least for me personally, with the spotting scope, I spend a lot of my time between that 20 and 40 zoom range, and this has that. I mean, there's definitely times and places for the other models, like no doubt they would not exist if that wasn't the case. But this thing's going to do a lot of what I need to do. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, if you're the type of person that's like you're carrying your spotting scope, you need it in your pack. It's not your primary way of glassing, which, I mean, spotting scope isn't my primary way of glassing. For me, it's like I use it to check certain areas and verify certain things. And then, I will use it, but I don't generally use a spotting scope all day glassing. So it's like I've got my binos on my chest, I've got this spotter, and you're ready to rock and roll. The other thing that I kind of do too, if I want to go real optics heavy, is I'll have this spotter and then some bigger magnification binoculars. And I think the combination of those things is really set up for backcountry hunting, for western big game hunting, for finding stuff and then saving some weight that you're carrying as well.
For sure. Yeah, I see, particularly like on an open landscape hunt, backcountry style type thing where you're trying to shave weight. I'm just a pansy when it comes to weight anyway. Like, it doesn't necessarily even have to be a backcountry hunt. I'd be like, I just don't want to carry a lot of stuff. This thing and a set of 12s and a tripod, that's going to be a pretty killer combination, at least, for me and myself and I. For contrast, which I generally just have my Nalgene here in the studio anyway, because I like to take the occasional sip of water, Remi, but I don't know how much. But, the folks on the YouTube can see, like, I mean, this thing is not big.
No. I mean, I've got here, I can compare the straight one with a mug. It's a little bit longer, but, you got pretty dang close. And about the same weight as like a full coffee mug,
Maybe not for the price of a cup of coffee, but for the size of a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I guess depends what kind of mug you got it in, right? It depends on. I think, don't they have like coffee that's real expensive that's gone through like a civet cat that's like eating it? What's that called? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's like a civet cat poops the coffee bean and it's super expensive.
Yeah, I don't see myself paying extra for that.
No, me neither. But
but yes, I believe that does exist. Yeah, I mean, I've got the Summit Carbon 2 tripod here. It's hard to have an excuse to not carry a quality spotting scope with you when you have access to this thing. Price point, I think it's coming in at about $1,000, give or take there, depending on where you find it. So, I don't know, tons of performance and functionality in a very small, lightweight package. Total length is going to be about 10.5 to 11, depending on if you get the angled or the straight. Golly, just a lot of performance there. What any stories stick out, Remi, where you've used the little one and it's done everything that you needed it to do? Hopefully too many to count, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, it's pretty much every hunt, any hunt where I've used a spotting scope, it's primarily been that one. I mean, I can think of, even just testing this one, took it sheep scouting, and it's nice because I'm for scouting for my desert sheep, I had a lot of water, and that's a lot of weight. And you just think oh man, having this was nice. And I could verify everything that I needed to. I never felt like I was I need more scope right now. I wasn't trying to count rings at long distance or anything, but it was really nice. And then I think of some really long backpack hunts where it's 10 days or whatever. And you're man, I probably wouldn't take a spotting scope if I didn't have this spotting scope, if I didn't have and it's a hunt where you really need a spotting scope, especially when I'm thinking about spring bear hunting and you're just carrying everything in your pack and you're moving along and you really need that extra distance to verify things. Elk hunting especially too, man. I've countless elk hunts where I'm spot an elk and I go, is that even a legal bull? Okay, let me see. Get the spotting scope out. Go, okay, perfect. But hey, I'm packing out an elk that day and I don't have to carry extra weight in a spotting scope or the room that another scope takes because it's got everything that I need. As you know, for a long time, I've been a very big champion of these lighter, smaller spotting scopes. So the Baby Razor, definitely hands down my favorite spotting scope.
I love it. Yeah. Definitely a difference maker, when it comes to, if you're well, I don't really want to carry a spotting scope, man, for the weight and space penalty, which is nil, big dividends when you're packing out a heck of a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Remi. I think you're as pumped about this one as we are, and stoked to see it in use this fall. Hopefully it serves you well. I'm sure it will. And
it definitely will, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to hear I want to hear all the stories that you come back with about the big ones that didn't get away.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks again to you, Remi. Check it out. The new Razor. I was almost going to say 11 to 33. The 13 to 39 by 56. Here it is. Finally, the one we've all been waiting for. Check it out. Look through it. Pack it into the high country. You're going to love it. Until next time, happy hunting and shooting. Good luck out there. Have a great fall.